My name's Leah Fay, and I play music in July Talk. Well, my brother just had a baby, so I'm pretty obsessed with my brand new nephew. But I'm also really into mail these days. Pretty obsessed with mail. I'm keeping the Canadian Postal Service alive. A woman named Misa out of Toronto, and she just released an EP. I think it's called My Body Is Not a Temple, but she's amazing live, and I can't say enough good things about her music or her live performance. And I have a pin for you, Mitch. I have an Autoharp that I found while I was driving around with my grandmother's ashes maybe a month after she died. And I just I was in Collingwood and I drove past a music store that I'd never seen before. And I caught a glimpse of it kind of for no reason in the rearview mirror and was like, and had been wanting an Autoharp and thinking about Autoharps just because they're beautiful and so many amazing old-timey songs have been written on them. And I went and turned around and went back to this random music store and walked inside, and there was a beautiful Autoharp from 1929 or something like that. And they gave me a good price on it. and yeah, and I associate it with that like trip and my grandmother and driving around with my grandmother's ashes. It's a hard question because band dynamics are a fragile thing, obviously. But I think that the Spice Girls could have used a sixth member named like maybe Harry Spice. I think I could have been Harry Spice. And I could have been the one that like promoted smelling like yourself and being yourself. I didn't really choose to become a musician. It was kind of the only thing that I wasn't specifically encouraged to do growing up, not for any particular reason, but just because there were so many other things that I was already involved in, that when I wanted a guitar, like my parents bought me a guitar and let me take guitar lessons and things like that. But I was like 10 and I couldn't figure out how to sing and play at the same time. And so it wasn't until I was in university and had just had my heart broken that I realized that it was the only way that I could get out exactly what I wanted to say. Because you can't really, well, I guess there's a million different ways to express using words, but I was studying contemporary dance and doing a lot of performance art and painting and drawing, and in terms of expression, it just wasn't, I wasn't getting my fix doing that, so it kind of chose me or something. And then when I started writing songs, I'd never been more terrified of anything in my entire life than trying to play them in front of people. And so I figured that because it was making me want to vomit, I should probably pursue it further. Dev Hynes cloned 5 times and just being able to play everything that he wants to play his way on stage at the same time. I have a lot of favorite band t-shirts. One would be my Angel Olsen t-shirt that says "Unfuck the World" on it. Just one of the tracks off of her second full-length album. Also, the Van Halen t-shirt is amazing. I have a Nico Case t-shirt that has a beluga whale wearing hunting attire, drinking a beer, which is really great. Well, outside of July Talk, I also have an art collective called Wives that makes, we make performance art. And so if I had more time, I'd probably be doing that more often. But to make money, I think that by now I would be choreographing hip-hop videos. If I were doing it by myself, I think I'd want to score a Miranda July film. If I got to score a film with my entire band, I think I would love to score some sort of desert romantic horror drama a la Wild at Heart. But the best song for that movie has already been written, Chris Isaak, Wicked Game. So it's been done. I would say the Horseshoe Tavern is my favorite venue to play in. And it's just because, I think maybe because we've stood in the audience there so many times, and my first shows were there, and seeing so many bands that influenced me come through town and going to see them there and standing in the front row for just so many years, and then finally playing there. Every time we finish a set there, I just go into the side stage area that leads out to the alley and like shake and put myself in a little ball on the floor, and just I don't know, I can't believe it. It's like sensory overload. Yeah, something about it. Definitely vodka. So there are a lot of nights when I was just starting to figure out how to write songs, where I would walk home drunk with a song idea in my head, and then get home and make a crappy recording of it, and then discover it like between 6 months and 2 years later, and just have no recollection of it ever happening. So I think that it's sort of, for me personally, I don't recommend it, but I think it forced me to use my voice and use my ideas and get them out. But also, every person I've ever loved. I have no problem with using tracks on stage. Our band, personally, at this time, doesn't do it, but I don't think that they are necessarily like that there's no need for them. I think sometimes you have a song that probably benefits from having, extra padding and it's taking up extra sonic space. But I think that that live performance has become too reliant on moving through a set to a click, to something automatic, to something mechanical. And I hope that the future of music involves more risk of failure and more relying on ourselves as human beings to bring people together, as opposed to trying to create something that's so pristine and flawless.